Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs today. So let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all.
All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store.
This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So first story up, let's talk about your boy Benzino. Okay, now apparently Benzino was on the Famous and Wealthy podcast. I'm telling you, they need to get rid of. I shouldn't say this because I am a part of this whole community, but it's so many fucking podcasts out there. And I don't know what happens to the people when they get on the podcast, but y'all seem to lose y'all mind and y'all be saying shit that you just really probably should not be saying. It only happens on podcasts, y'all. Y'all get so comfortable. And Benzino was no different. All right. So he was on the podcast and they were talking to him about his daughter, Coyle Ray. You guys know that they have a very contentious relationship with each other. Some days they are speaking to each other. Some days they are not. We have seen them have arguments on social media. We've seen them go back and forth. We've seen her talk bad about him. We've seen him talk bad about her. Here's an idea. How about everybody get off fucking social media and stop talking about each other? Just don't mention each other at all. When the people ask you that question, because you know the question is coming. But when people ask you that question, just say, I prefer not to talk about it and let's move on to the next fucking question. That's what it needs to be. Now, in the conversation, they were talking about her not wanting to have anything to do with him. You know, she had also put on Twitter, back in you guys remember when Benzino was defending R. Kelly and saying that R. Kelly deserved a second chance and all of that. Okay. Coyle Ray had went on to Twitter and told her followers, because people was asking her about what he had said, that she said that she did not want to have anything to do with her father. She said that she hadn't spoken to him in over a year, that she doesn't condone what he says and does, that she doesn't respect what he says and does, and that she would just very much like for everybody to stop even talking to her about her father. She don't want to talk to him. She don't want to have nothing to do with him. Leave her alone. So when they asked Benzino about that statement that she made on the podcast, Benzino had really the strangest type of reaction in response to it. I still don't even really know what he meant by it. It sounds like he was trying to justify the fact that, so Coyle Ray apparently was on a different podcast and she was talking to the interviewer and they asked her, when did she lose her virginity? And she lost her virginity at 14 years old. Now, I'm assuming on that interview, she also discussed that the person was an older person. And, you know, anytime you hear about an older person having sex with a fucking 14-year-old, first of all, you are a pedophile. And secondly, you have sexually abused this girl. You've taken advantage of her. Even if the 14-year-old has said that they want to have sex with you, you as a fucking adult know that you cannot have sex with no 14-fucking-year-old person. Okay? So that is never a discussion. The person should have never done it. All right, she was 14 years old. She ain't. Anyway, Benzino in this podcast on the Famous and Wealthy podcast tells the person like, oh, so she doesn't want to talk about forgiving R. Kelly or giving R. Kelly a second chance. But didn't you have sex at 14 years old? You know, does that make the person that you had sex with a pedophile? And I'm just trying to figure out, first of all, where do the parallels line up? Like, what are you even trying to say? You know, are you trying to say that she was saying that it was okay for her to have sex with an older person, but now all of a sudden you don't condone what R. Kelly was doing? I just told you what the answer to that is. She's 14 fucking years old at the time. 14 fucking year old kids think that they can do all kind of things that they know that we know as adults that they should not and cannot be doing. Okay. And so him justifying that person has sex with, first of all, why are you talking about your daughter having sex on social media, in a podcast, in an interview anyway? Shouldn't that be something that is so sensitive as a father, it seems like you would want to protect your daughter, your child, from further scrutiny, from, you know, and just the uncomfortableness of it all. Like, you have a daughter that was out there, 14 years old. Let's discuss about the fact that why do you have a 14-year-old daughter that's so easily able to sleep with a grown-ass man when you were supposed to be the father that was protecting her at that time? If you couldn't protect her then, can you protect her today? Okay? Can you do right that wrong and, you know, protect her from having to even discuss the fact that this girl had lost her virginity at that age? You know, very, very disgusting and disappointing. All right. And apparently Benzino didn't see it that way and was talking about her. And so, of course, it was on the blogs. Okay, now we got to discuss how our girl Bondi got pulled into this. So he was talking about it. I mean, the one of the blogs, I think it was the Neighborhood Talk, had uploaded the interview, that segment. And Bondi did comment on there about how, you know, how is it that, like I said, you her father, why are you even talking about her having sex? Like, what, something's wrong with you, nigga? And she was just like, I'm sick of seeing them at this point. Now, you guys know that we all leave our comments on social media, on the Instagram comments and all that. That's what we all do. You know, the minute that you put something out there, you have opened yourself up to people having to comment, you know, people wanting to comment on the things that you say. You know, that's why I always tell people, if you don't want folks to talk about the shit on social media, then don't tell us. Stop saying it. You ain't got to tell everybody everything. Your private life is just that, private. You can keep a whole bunch of shit to yourself. Nobody would ever know, and nobody would be able to talk on it. But here you want to start talking about it, but then when people start calling you on it, then all of a sudden, you know, it's my business. Don't be talking. No, it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way, you know. So Bondi did comment on what he said, and he immediately came back at her, called her bald-headed, you know, and saying that he can say whatever he want to say, and if she don't like it, you know, that she can log off. Now, yeah, we all can log off, but like I just said, people have the right to leave a comment when you've put something out there, you know. So then Bondi and Benzino go back and forth. It seems like somewhere in the conversation, he probably realized that he was tripping, and he started to try to soften up, but you guys know Bondi was not going to let that happen. I was just like, no, nigga, baby, you done already opened the door. Now you might as well forget it. But he was definitely digging his heels in and trying to go back and forth with her when we just needed Benzino to understand that you shouldn't have been talking about this shit in the first place. Like, what kind of father are you? Like I said, if you couldn't be there for her back then, at least be there for your child today. And if you can't do that, then how about everybody just don't say nothing? Okay? I was thinking to myself, I was just like, he probably been wanting to have something to say to Bondi probably back since from when we used to review Love and Hip Hop Atlanta when he was on the show, you know, because we used to go hard on Benzino. He probably been wanting to have a reason to say something to her slick, and then that's how he came up with all this. But he had to know, it wasn't just Bondi. It was many people that were in the comments saying, like, why are you even discussing this as a 14-year-old child? Do you think this girl needs to further be embarrassed by the fact that she did have a sex with a grown person? You trying to justify that? Like, R. Kelly did what he did. Yeah, it was a mess. Did you guys see that whole thing? I didn't even know anything was going on. And then I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw Brittany talking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, is he serious? Like, where was this? Where was I? You guys, I stopped following Neighborhood Talk because they were showing too much of the Zeus content. I can't do it. I stopped following Neighborhood Talk and the Jasmine brand because I was just like, how many Zeus? And you know what? Ever since I stopped following them, I don't see nothing about Krishan, even though from what I understand, they don't talk about Krishan anymore since Blueface is in jail. But I don't see none of that shit about Zeus Network and Natalie Nunn and all. I don't want to see that shit, and my life has been so much more peaceful because Neighborhood Talk and Jasmine Brand, they have to be paid by Zeus channel. They have to be, the way that they post them so much. So that's why I didn't even know what was going on, because I didn't see it on any other blog. Okay, but yeah, you guys, did you guys see that? Apparently y'all said something about him getting pulled over by the police. See, I forgot to look that up. But it ain't, all that to say is it ain't really been Benzino's day. Okay, I said a long time ago that Benzino probably has a lot of psychological issues that he could work through. I'm sure he could sit down with a therapist. He just seems very angry. And I'm sure that those are some issues that he needs to work out personally. Okay. And maybe once he can work out the issues that he has personally, then maybe him and his daughter could get there. But he's never going to get there with his daughter until he can figure out his own shit. All right. Benzino got a lot of shit with him. All right. So, yeah. But did you guys see that? Y'all let me know what you thought about that next topic. All right, you guys, next story up here. The case against YSAP here in Georgia. You guys know the one about him trying to sway the election and trying to find the 12,000 something votes. And putting the pressure on many of the people here as far as elections are concerned, the Secretary of State. And you guys know that whole case. The one that Fani Willis brought up, and then it got derailed because they started to make a big issue about the fact that she was having an affair, or having a relationship, I should say, with the special prosecutor that she had hired and paid, and they were saying that she paid him way too much money, and you guys know that whole story. Now, you guys remember that Fani Willis was found, well, the way that the judge put it was that she could continue to try the case as long as she got rid of the special prosecutor, or she could excuse herself from the case if she wanted special prosecutor to stay on. Okay. Of course, she was not going to excuse herself from her own damn case. This is a big case for her. And so they did. Actually, I think the special prosecutor, I think he ended up resigning anyway. I don't think it was a relationship. It was a quick fling. You know, it was just something that they had to get out their system, apparently. I still hate that it happened, only because I knew that it was going to be blown out of proportion, and it was going to made to be looking just like how it looked to a lot of people. It didn't really affect her negatively politically anyway, because she was reelected as the DA for Fulton County, so she is continuing on as the DA. And so I think they were hoping that she was going to be disposed of, and that she was going to be that she was going to lose to whoever was running against her here in Atlanta, but she didn't. That's not the case. So now they are saying, because YSAP ended up putting in appeals, his lawyers put an appeal in to try to get her taken off of the case. Now they're saying that the appeals court is not going to see her case until next year. Okay. And the problem with that is that happens after the election. All right. Which even though she has nothing to do with the election, it also it has a lot to do with YSAP. Okay, now let me explain to you why. So YSAP, we know that he was just recently found guilty in New York. You know, his sentencing is coming up in July. I think July, what did they say, 2nd or 3rd or 5th or something, somewhere at the beginning of July. Maybe it was July 9th, or maybe in the 11th. It's stuck in my mind. But anyway, the way that I've been listening to talk radio recently, and there was a gentleman that had brought up a really good point. He said that when YSAP goes to be sentenced, we doubt that he will get any jail time. Okay. But there could be some other parameters set up. He could be put on probation, you know, parole, have to meet with a parole officer and all of that. It could be house arrest. It could be a many number of things. But they believe also in that paperwork, it will probably stipulate that he cannot get in any more trouble. He cannot be arrested for anything. He cannot be convicted of anything. And if he is, then he will have to go to jail. So I believe that the lawyers are trying to avoid him possibly being found guilty here in Atlanta. I mean, here in Fulton County, because he will, if he does get found guilty, and if there are stipulations from this case in New York that's saying that, you know, if you do get in trouble, if you get convicted of something, then you are going to have to go to jail, then the man will end up in jail. So this is a way to keep him out of jail. They pushed off that case with Fani Willis because as a precaution to make sure that this man does not end up in jail. I mean, at least this one case would be out of the way. Okay. And because I just feel like it's bullshit. Why are we waiting a whole fucking year to find out if this, you know, why y'all pushing this case off that far? That's really the only reason that I could come up with. Now, of course, I am not a rock star lawyer, the real one. I ain't even a fake one, shit. But so I need my real rock star lawyers to chime in on that. Do you feel like I might be on to something here? I did get this from the talk show, but I just wanted to let you guys know, and maybe bounce it off of y'all, and y'all can tell me if you think that that could be the case. You know, I think he does have other lawsuits that's going on out there. So, I mean, he still could, but this was the biggest case that we knew of that YSAP was facing. And so now they have gotten that out of their hair. So, you know, to that, I'm just like, this some bullshit, Raldo. Some bullshit. I think that they are really trying everything that they can to, it doesn't even feel like it's an election year. Like, it does not feel like it. You know, it seems like they are waiting so long to start campaigning. It seems like they always started earlier than they have this year. But it's damn near the middle of June, and we still, you know, July, August, September, October, November. We got 5 months, and it's going to be either Biden is going to be reelected or YSAP going to be in office, and it's just sort of like they still ain't really did too much. I mean, I guess they talking about it. It just feels different than it did this first year. But I still need you guys to pay attention, and I still need you guys to get out there and vote. I still need you to get out there and vote. But after all that shit happened last week, honey, I was just like, oh no, honey, these white folks is voting out there that they don't like them either. I thought it was just, you know, some of us black folks that got some damn sense, but no, it's a whole bunch of people out there that don't like him. So I feel a little better. I don't believe that he is going to get reelected. I'm back on that again, but I still need everybody just to make sure that we lock it in place. I need everybody out there to get out there and vote. Okay. All right. Let me know if that sounds like that could be something feasible, the reason that I told you, and I'll move on to the next. All right, you guys. So they say that the father of a girl that was graduating from Baraboo High School was seen jumping on the stage as his daughter was crossing the stage. You know how when you go up there to get your diploma and you shake the hands of the staff, usually like the principal, the vice principal, the counselor, the nurse, you know, all of the people that was up there. Okay, well, apparently as the girl was walking across the stage shaking the hands, the father jumped up there quickly and pushed Superintendent Rainey Briggs from the line. Okay, and so Rainey Briggs was not able to shake the daughter's hand, and the father and Mr. Briggs started going back and forth and arguing. You can hear Mr. Briggs saying, like, you better get up off me, like, I'm not playing, get away from me, and all this. And everybody, it was all this commotion. The poor girl was just standing up there not knowing what to do. Okay, looked very embarrassed. You know how it is. They'd be like, Lord, my father, my father. Okay, and then the audience started booing. It was a whole lot going on. And immediately, you know, people were saying that this was a racial attack. I would tend to agree with this. I mean, you could look at it. You see this white man jumping up there and pushing the only black man that's on the line away from meeting his daughter. They're saying that it has nothing to do with racism. And I guess we're just going to have to see. But the state representative, her name is Representative Francesca Hong. She said that it was clear that it was a racist act, and that this is just further confirmation of how problematic and prevalent racism is in Wisconsin. This was in Wisconsin. But the other side is saying that no, the community has a problem with Mr. Briggs because they feel that he put in place, he had put in place the school board president, Kevin Vodak. They were trying to recall Kevin Vodak because they said that he misappropriated funds and used all of this money to increase the salaries for Briggs. Okay, so Briggs didn't put him in place. But this president put Briggs and another administrator in place, paid them an exorbitant amount of money according to the community. And so they want to get rid of Kevin Vodak, Briggs, and whoever this other administrator is. Okay, so some people are saying that it's more about the money and the fact that the community don't like Vodak, and then of course the other side is saying no, this is a racial attack. You know, you push this black man as a white person. When I look at it, I clearly see a white man pushing this black man back. I'm not familiar with what goes on in Wisconsin. Isn't Tammy, aren't you from Wisconsin? Yeah. Or is it Ohio? Is it Wisconsin or Ohio, child? Y'all let me know what's going on out there. But honey, yeah, the man, all kind of commotion. And all I got to say to that is, why you had to do that while this girl is trying to walk across this stage? I mean, why did you have to embarrass this girl on a very big day for herself? Like, you couldn't let it just go. I mean, if it was that important to you, could you have told your daughter not to shake the man's hand and just ignore him and walk by him? That would have been less of a damn scene as you jumping up there and doing all that. So, and I don't even know who the audience was booing. I'm not sure if the audience was booing Briggs or if the audience was booing the father. Okay, but definitely was very disruptive to the whole thing, and probably was a quick downer on what should have been a bright day for the girl. Anybody from out there that can give us a little insight, a little let us know exactly what's going on out there in Baraboo High School, okay, and that school district? If you got any information on it, y'all go on and put us up on game, okay? And I'm gonna go on to the next story. All right, you guys, so they say that Meghan Markle was over in Nigeria, okay, and she and her husband, the prince, they went over there to visit and let Meghan Markle tell it. She said she had a fabulous time and she can't wait to come back, okay? But the people in Nigeria are saying something different. All right, now it depends on who you're listening to, because the story is a little confusing for me, so I might need you guys to help me out with this one as well. So they're saying that Meghan Markle was dragged over in Nigeria because of her choice of dress in the West African country. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu said in a speech, now apparently she was having a speech at an event, and she was talking to the people, and she was mentioning how you know, basically those over in Nigeria should not be trying to adopt the customs of the Americans, that, you know, their culture does not believe in nakedness, and that they don't condone that, they don't like that, you know, so that the young people over in Africa, over in Nigeria, have the responsibility to, you know, be true to their customs and respectful and don't do what the Americans do, basically. And then she also said, they don't know where they come from. Why did Meghan come here? Looking for Africa. That is something we have to take home with. We know who we are, and don't lose who you are. Okay, now that's a quote that she said, and it sounded like in that quote, at least to me, now it might be taken out of context, there may be more to it that was around it, but just listening to that part, it sounded like she was saying that she was not happy with the way that Meghan Markle came over there and the things that she had on. Now, I did see pictures of Meghan Markle when she was over there, and there were pictures of her with her shoulders out. You know, that the women over in Nigeria dress way more modestly, you know, and they don't show skin the same way that we do here out here in America. And so, I mean, to me, if I were to hear that quote, I would have thought that the First Lady was speaking about Meghan Markle and her choice of dress as well. But now her office is saying, no, this is a misunderstanding. She was not talking about Meghan Markle. At no point did she talk about the clothes that Meghan Markle had on. All right. But it's confusing to me, because it's just like, well, why did you put Meghan Markle in that conversation when you were trying to talk to the youth and telling them not to dress a certain way, not to lose who they are? But then you brought up Meghan Markle, so of course people would assume that you were talking about her. So I'm not sure if I am missing part of this story, if I have missed something, because it's not attached. The two ain't making sense, because I would think that the lady was talking about Meghan Markle as well. And then of course, after the First Lady had said what she had said, then people went onto social media and were also kind of co-signing what she had said and being down on Meghan Markle and what she's, you know, all of that. But now they're saying, oh, no, that's not what it was. You know, we are fine with Meghan Markle. We want her to come back and visit and all that. I don't know if that is the politically correct response now that this other sound blip has come out and people have quoted the First Lady as saying, like, yeah, she dressing like some old trollop and coming over here and, you know, don't be trying to be like them. Do what you know that you're supposed to be doing. Or what? You guys let me know. Yeah, she say that they're saying that she meant Meghan appreciates the people who we are, and hence that's why she came over there. And I was just like, I don't know. That don't seem like what I read, but of course I could only have part of it. Maybe there's more to that speech that she said, but you guys let me know if you think that the First Lady in Nigeria had some issue with Meghan Markle or not. Okay. Next story. lastly, you guys, Summer Jam was happening out there in New York. I think that was in New York. There was a lot going on. They also had the Roots picnic that they have every year. That went on this past weekend. And at the Summer Jam concert, they had a tribute to Master C. Okay, Master C, the well-known DJ out there who recently passed. So they, of course, they would have the artists, you know, the rappers of Master C's generation when he was really, really big back in the 90s. You know, we had a lot of 90s artists that were there as well to perform. But you guys know Summer Jam historically is a concert that are for, you know, teeny boppers, early 20s, maybe in your 30s and shit. But when you start getting into your 40s and stuff, maybe you don't need to be at Summer Jam, not like that, you know. So a part of the Master C lineup, a part of the Master C tributary lineup was Method Man and Redman of the Wu-Tang Clan. All right. And then they had other people there, Peter Guns. We're going to get to that in a minute. But specifically talking about Method Man and Redman. Now, of course, every time I hear Method Man and Redman, you know, I was never really much of a Wu-Tang Clan fan. I didn't listen to Wu-Tang music except for the songs that were really, really popular that they played over in LA, which is usually just Cream and, you know, like those songs. But I'm not a Wu-Tang Clan person, so I don't know their music. But I do know Method Man and Redman. And so when I hear them, I enjoy them. However, I am 53 years old, right? So you got these men up there singing to these babies. Child, they are rapping up there to the babies and everything. And I mean, yeah, the kids can catch a groove because the groove is just a groove and all, but they're not going to be rocking out. They're not going to be jumping up and down. I mean, you are old enough at this point to be these kids' father, and they just not going to look at you that way. You know, you ain't Jay-Z, you ain't 50 Cent, you know, and so it's just sort of like, why y'all up there? And I guess Method Man was able to realize that while he was there. He was just like, you know, we shouldn't have been there. We was not even moving that crowd, not any kind of way. So I won't be doing Summer Jam anymore. And to that, I just say, well, that's probably good. Okay. Cause nobody wants to be the old motherfucker in the club. Okay. You don't want to be the old bitch in the club. You don't want to be the old nigga in the club, because young people, see, the thing with the old bitch and the old nigga in the club is that the old bitch and the old nigga in the club think that they doing what the kids are doing. Okay. When everybody is laughing and dancing and shit, you know, you feel like you doing that with the kids, but really the kids are laughing at you. Okay, like, why is Papa in here? Why is Auntie in here? Why is Uncle in here? All right. So yeah, sometimes it's just time to just call it quits and just realize that, yeah, maybe maybe my time then ran out and I don't need to be out here. Some of my counterparts that are around my age have a harder time understanding that, you know, so every now and then I have girlfriends that be out there with them kids and I just be like, child, if you don't go sit your old ass down, child, I promise you. But yeah, it's fine. That's exactly how it should be. Okay, let them kids have it. These kids talking about pussies and booty holes and all of that. We wasn't talking about that shit in the 90s. So maybe you don't even need to be there. Now, Peter Guns, Peter Guns was from, what was the group that he was in? I can't even think of this damn song. Was it Grinding, the song? I mean, that's a song. Grinding, in the line. Yeah. That song they actually do still kind of play, you know, so I think the kids kind of are familiar with that song, but even Peter Guns really don't need to be up there. But also Peter Guns is a little bit more relevant to younger audience because of Love and Hip Hop, okay? So that kind of made him more important to a younger generation than Now, Method Man is getting back to it, but still on his grown man shit. He's on Power. And so, you know, it's still not the same. But Peter Guns, he got up there and he was performing and he was just like, man, we built that stage. Like, I'm never leaving Summer Jam. And I was just like, you need to leave too, Peter. Now, Peter needs the money, I'm sure. So I'm sure, you know, he gonna take whatever gig that the people give him. I mean, that's fine. If you want to be there with the kids, that's fine. But you should also understand that sometimes it's time to just throw in the towel. You look too fucking old. You look ridiculous. and all that. The kids wasn't really doing much even when Peter Guns was up there. You know, like I said, you know, you can catch a little groove and everything because, you know, the music is doing what it's doing. But as far as them like jumping up and down and screaming and excited to see you, like, no. You know, it was just a respectful, probably what it is. Thanks, Unc. I hate to see when people don't realize that they need to just go on and let it go. I'd be embarrassed for them. But I mean, I guess if they like it, I love it. But Method Man was just like, absolutely not. And I don't blame him one bit. We do this every single week, so make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.